that. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you like my content, as always, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell. So, what are we making today? Well, we are going to be making a chemise. And yes, I know there are a ton of videos floating around on YouTube on how to make chemises. So I thought I need to do something a little different. So instead of just making any old chemise, I went to the Met Museum's website, which by the way is a great resource for historical clothing and such. And I found the perfect chemise that I wanted to recreate. It's an 1862 chemise, which is just perfect for me because that's roughly around the time period I'm probably going to be focusing on, is mostly through the 1860s through the 1880s really, I guess. So as you can see in the photos, you can't quite tell from the far away one, but in the close-up you can really see all the lovely pleated details and the lace detailing. It's just very nice and feminine, and I think it will look really good when under a corset to kind of framework everything. So let's talk about the fabrics I chose. I decided to go with 100% cotton muslin because one thing that's nice on the Met Museum's website, they kind of tell you what fabric some of the things are made from. This particular chemise was not linen, which most of them are. It was actually cotton, which is really nice because linen can be very expensive. So, talking online on my sewing group that I'm kind of a part of, they said that it's okay to use cotton muslin as long as you make sure it's not dense. Basically, the rule of thumb is if you put your hand under the fabric and you can see the silhouette of your hand, you're okay. So that was perfect because that's pretty much the way that mine was woven. I was also very lucky. I got my lace, I got a very similar lace to sort of what they used on the chemise with like the floral detailing, and I picked that up at Hobby Lobby. I know the one on the original is an eyelet lace. I couldn't find that, so I've done the best that I can. Now, I am notorious for modifying patterns to get what I want, and I went and chose the truly Victorian TV 102 pattern, which is her chemise and drawers pattern, and I'll probably be using this to also make my drawers. And I show in the video though how I alter this pattern because it obviously has a different neckline, and we need to add in some room for all those lovely pleats. So yeah, I guess without further ado, let's just jump into it and get started. All the pieces normally, so I'm going to put all of these pieces aside for now, and we're just going to focus on this piece right here. Right, so what I've done this time, instead of taking my pattern and splitting it, I'm actually pulling it out and just adding a bunch into that square front top, and I've got 5 inches, so that's a total of 10 inches I've added on this time. So surely that will be enough for all of our pleats. So I'm going to cut this out and start pleating. So I'm just going to mark out my center, and that'll help me pretty much figure out, using my lace, like where I should put all of my pleated sections. I also realized that I have my neckline curving too much, so I'm going to square it off more, which will help me make my pleats. And I just make sure to do that on both sides. Okay, so I looked at my reference photo, and again, I almost made a mistake. So this is my center, and I shrunk this down to 2 inches, lace, 2 inches, lace, and then I needed somehow here to pleat, because I keep forgetting there's this last section that's pleated. But now we should be all good. So now, let's start pleating. So here's how all my pleats came out, and as you can see, I've got some gap sections, and I've cut out my lace to the lengths I want it. The original, they're all different lengths. I think I can't remember how long I made each one. Sorry about that, but just do it and make sure it looks aesthetically pleasing, and you should be fine. Don't worry, those aren't pin marks. That's my heat erasable pen that I use, so it'll go away when I iron it. But basically, I'm just gonna, with the machine, sew down the center, and now the rest I'm gonna sew by hand. And I don't have a lot to say on how I sewed it by hand. Basically, I just tried to go around the flowers 2 to 3 times and go into these little gaps where the flower isn't to kind of secure everything down. And this was the most time-consuming part of this project. I thought the pleats were going to be the time-consuming part, but no, this was the time-consuming part. The pleats were just kind of obnoxious. All hand sewn and put into place, and as I showed you, I was just kind of going through to make sure the flowers were very secured. So now the pattern tells me to do those pieces that go on here, kind of like I did with the last one, but I'm not going to do that because that's only for, that's only if I was going to put buttons, and obviously the one I'm trying to replicate doesn't have buttons, and on my first prototype I did try it and I did not like the buttons. So instead I'm just going to go ahead and sew up the sides, not up here, just up the sides with French seams again. So I'm going to do that and catch up with you guys in a minute. Alright, it's time to add our sleeves. Now, her sleeves have you kind of ruffle them to make them fit, but I can't do that with this because the replica has no gathered. The replica is very smooth, so I just can't do that. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna find the middle. Sorry. Okay. So we're gonna find the middle, which is here. And the curved part is the outer edge. So I've got my right sides together, finding the middle, putting it where my seam is. And what I'm gonna have to do is just basically pin it out from here until it reaches the top, and then I'll have to trim the sleeve to fit. Because like I said, on the replica, the sleeves are not gathered, and I am trying to make it as close as possible. I did do it with gathered sleeves on the first attempt, and I'll show you that in a minute because it does look very cute. It's just, like I said, I'm trying to get this as close to the other one as possible. So ergo, I do not want any gatherings. And this is just a quick fix, which isn't bad at all. So, get my scissors. And, alright. Slide this up here. We'll start on this side. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I can, this is not like super thick, so I can actually, and I think even you guys can see where that is, so that's nice. Which is important, because you don't want anything fabric-wise thicker than that. So I'm just going to make sure I don't cut the sleeve portion like that. There we go. And just have it make the same curve hers does, her original pattern, except shorter. So I'm going to now unpin this and fold it in half so I get the same cut on both sides, the same curve cut, and then I'll cut my other one based off this, and then we'll step is pretty self-explanatory. I have it flipped inside out so my right sides are together, and I'm just going to go ahead and sew up here because, like I said, I'm not doing the button like her pattern. I'm just going to sew the tops of my shoulders, and then we'll finish off the sleeves. Alright, here is the final look. And I think it looks really good. I think I've captured the original as best I can. I am missing the crispness that they had in their pleats, but that's because they would heavily starch their undergarments. And I don't want to. I don't like using starch. I think the sleeves look good. This one looks a little wonky because just, I don't know, I didn't straighten it. But yeah, that looks fine. See, it's got some nice baby lace on the sides here. Where's my hand? So we do have the nice lace just like the original. We got the floral lace all the way around the edging. Floral lace down the sides and between the pleated sections. So I didn't show it, but basically the way I finished it, because I thought these went all the way up and they didn't. They ended like this, so I made a bias tape, and I went all the way around, even into the back, and then I sewed this on to get the nice floral, and it just goes all the way around the back as such. Sorry, my mannequin doesn't want to turn. And it's got a really nice square neckline. I have tried it on and it fits nice and comfortably, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it on so you guys can see it on a person instead of just a mannequin. So yeah, let's go see it. Alright, and that's it. That's how I made my replica of an 1862 chemise. And I'm very happy with it, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and you'll come back for more Victorian videos, or just because you want to hang out. So, as always, just another reminder, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, or else you won't get to see any more of my cool videos or wacky videos. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week.